Okay, let me start with a question. Just play along in your head. Imagine your whole body is soft. No bones, no shell, not even a single hard spine. Now, I drop you right into the middle of a wide, empty sand flat. The sun is beating down, you can be seen from every direction, and there's nothing around. No rock, no hole, not even a clump of weed for you to hide behind. And the things cruising back and forth over your head, every single one of them wants to eat you. What do? Most animals give the same answer. Hide, make yourself disappear, match your color to the background, and hope nobody ever finds you, right? That's the sensible plan. But today's star does the exact opposite. It doesn't hide. Right out in the open, in full view of everyone, it does something else entirely. It turns into somebody else. Hi, I'm Dr. Gray Parrot, and welcome to the Animal Truth Lab. Today's star lives in the warm shallows around Indonesia and the Philippines, out past the river mouths, on that soft, silty, muddy seafloor. And here's the thing. Most octopuses are night owls. They hide in rock crevices all day and only come out after dark. Not this one. This one heads out in broad daylight onto an open, exposed sand flat right under the noses of the big fish and makes its living out in the open. We grow up believing that camouflage means one thing: hide yourself until you can't be seen. This octopus tears that rule right up. Because the truth is, camouflage actually has two roads. One is the one everybody knows: make yourself vanish, melt into the background. The other, almost nobody on Earth walks as beautifully as this animal does. Not disappearing, but boldly turning into somebody else. And not just anybody, it picks the most dangerous somebody it can find. How it does that, and why on earth it would, I'm going to tell you, one piece at a time. I like to think of its whole story as a performance, the greatest mimic show on the seabed. Lights up, and your host is me. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's performer to the stage. Oh, wait, before it comes on, I need to introduce the star itself, because its own body is already a surprise. Spread all 8 of its arms out tip to tip, and you get about 60 centimeters, roughly the length of a house cat. Sounds like a fairly big animal, right? Now guess how big its actual body is, the round part that holds the brain and the organs. Just 5 or 6 centimeters, about the size of the palm of your hand. All the rest of that impressive-looking bulk is nothing but 8 long, slender arms, no thicker at their widest than a pencil. And like every octopus, it has no shell and no bones anywhere in its body. It's almost entirely muscle. What does that mean? It means that it can squash itself flat, stretch itself long, twist into all sorts of shapes, squeeze through a narrow crack, and it can arrange itself into a completely different animal. Hold on to that fact. In a minute, you'll see just how much it matters. Oh, and don't let the small, soft body fool you. The equipment packed inside is anything but ordinary. Like all octopuses, it has 3 hearts, one to pump blood around the whole body, and 2 more dedicated to the gills, loading the blood up with oxygen. And its blood isn't red, it's blue, because the stuff it uses to carry oxygen is built around copper, and copper turns a shade of blue once it's loaded with oxygen. A palm-sized little octopus, 3 hearts, blood that runs blue. I mean, was it not born a little different from the rest of us? This octopus was only discovered off Sulawesi in Indonesia back in 1998. Over the whole study, the team spent 16 days out there, and in all that time they saw just 9 of them, filming more than 6 hours of footage of it changing shape again and again. That footage later went into a natural history documentary in the year 2000 and turned this shape-shifting octopus into a worldwide star. Here's a funny wrinkle, though. Its shape-shifting talent got written up in a scientific paper first, back in 2001, but at that point, it didn't even have a proper name yet. It wasn't until 2005 that it got its official scientific name, Thaumoctopusmimicus. And that name is lovely. The first root in Greek means wonder, a marvel. The second part, mimicus, is Latin for the mimic. So its name in plain language is roughly the wondrous mimic octopus. The scientists wrote its single greatest talent straight into its name. All right, introductions done, the mimic show begins. Next up, playing the part of the flatfish. It pulls all 8 arms in, gathers them into the shape of a single leaf, lets its body trail out behind, and then, hugging the sand, it ripples along, wave after wave, exactly like a swimming flatfish. The look is a dead ringer for a certain flat little sole, very common on these sand flats. And here's a neat detail. When this octopus wants to move fast, it sucks water into its body and blasts it back out through a tube like a nozzle, jetting forward on the recoil. And that leaf shape it folds its arms into for the sprint, it just so happens to be the shape of a flatfish. 1 move, 2 jobs done at once. Next up, playing the part of the lionfish. This time, it rises just a little above the seabed, arms trailing out in every direction, spread wide, and the whole silhouette becomes a lionfish, venomous long spines out, bold stripes and all, drifting slowly through the water. Next up, playing the part of the sea snake. It threads 6 of its arms down into a hole in the sand, keeps just 2 out, raises them high, banded black and white, curling and bending, writhing this way and that, and from a little distance, that is the spitting image of a banded sea snake on the move. Did you catch what just happened? The same animal, 1 second a flatfish, the next a lionfish, the next a sea snake. How unusual is that? Let me put it this way. Before this octopus was recorded, no animal on Earth of any kind, any group at all, had ever been found that could do this, switching back and forth between imitations of several different models. It's the first one we know of. Scientists gave the talent a name, dynamic mimicry.
Now, you might be thinking, imitating something else, don't lots of animals do that? They do, but think it through. The usual kind, where within one species some individuals happen to look like this and others happen to look like that, depends on being born that way. However an animal grows up looking, that's more or less what it's stuck with for life. It's a narrow road. This octopus, though, packs every role into the same body. Whoever it wants to play, it just arranges itself into that shape. It's a whole theater company rolled into one performer. And for anything that wants to eat it, that's a nightmare. A predator can never be sure what this blob in front of it actually is this time around. Oh, and here's a fun little comparison. Playing the flatfish on its own is actually not this octopus's private trick. On the far side of the world, in the Atlantic, there's a completely unrelated long-armed octopus that also flattens its body and swims like a flatfish in those same stop-and-go bursts. 2 octopuses with nothing to do with each other, each evolving the very same move. Biology has a name for that: convergent evolution. But switching between several roles the way tonight's performer does, so far, still just this one. Now, let me pump the brakes here and be straight with you about something. You may have heard somewhere out there that this octopus mimics 15 animals or even more. Sounds spectacular, right? But the scientists who actually study it are very careful. What they say is this: the human eye, when it judges whether something looks like something else, is deeply subjective. You thinking it looks alike doesn't make it count scientifically. As of now, the ones they're genuinely confident about, the ones they'll vouch for, are just 3: the flatfish, the lionfish, and the sea snake. And those 3 aren't plucked out of thin air. They watched 2 individual octopuses run through all 3 roles, start to finish. As for the rest, the ones people think look like an anemone or a jellyfish, those are, to this day, still just guesses, unconfirmed. So the correct way to say it is confirmed 3, possibly more, but for now, only these 3 are settled science. In this lab, we only say what we can stand behind. So why these 3 in particular? Here's the key:
Think about what these three animals have in common. The sea snake, venom fangs. The lionfish, the tips of that whole crown of long spines, venomous. And even that flat little sole, at the base of its dorsal and anal fins, hidden poison glands. Did you catch it? Everything it mimics is venomous. It's not choosing at random. It deliberately picks venomous roles to play, because the moment a predator registers this thing is venomous, it hesitates, it backs off. The octopus has, in effect, thrown on a costume that says danger. And here's the funny part. The octopus itself probably isn't all that venomous. It's wearing somebody else's venom to scare its rivals off. By the way, it isn't performing every minute of the day. Sometimes, when a big predatory fish comes gliding past, say a jack, one of those big silvery ones, the octopus actually goes quiet instead, turns the color of the sand, and just settles there, still and low, pretending to be nothing at all. So you see, it can hide. It knows how. It's just that its finest, most astonishing trick is the opposite one, boldly becoming somebody else. But that's still not the best part. The best part is coming. Let me ask you, if a little fish kept pestering you, bumping you, nipping at you over and over, what would you do? This octopus did something that made scientists freeze on the spot. When a fiercely territorial damselfish came at it, attacking, the octopus raised those two banded arms and arranged itself into a sea snake. And a sea snake happens to be exactly what preys on those damselfish. Did you follow that? It's like saying, you bite me? Fine, then I'll turn into the one thing you fear most in the world. Scientists watched it do this 4 separate times. I get so worked up telling this that I want to shout. Wow! It sizes up its opponent and then decides who to play. It's thinking. It's casting itself in a role. But hold on, I've got to pump the brakes again, because this is exactly the kind of thing this lab cares about most. I have to be honest with you. Scientists to this day still can't prove it's actually thinking. They're careful. The phrase they use is appears to. Let me split it cleanly for you. What's confirmed that when a particular fish attacks it, it poses as that fish's predator. That happened 4 times. That's real. What's not confirmed, whether inside its head it's actually deciding anything. Appears to and proven are 2 different things, and that's a line we have to keep very clear. Okay, so how exactly does it change? What kind of magic is packed inside that body? For that, we need to talk about its skin, and it isn't 1 layer, it's 3, all working together. The first layer is called the chromatophores. Its skin is packed with tiny sacs of color, and around each little sac is a ring of muscle, and those muscles are wired straight to the brain. The brain gives an order, the muscle pulls, the sac springs open, and the color pops out. Snap! How fast is that color change? A fraction of a second, about as long as it takes you to blink once. The second layer, sitting underneath the chromatophores, is a structure that reflects light, stacks and stacks of thin plates like little lenses, bending light into blue and green metallic sheens. The third layer is a field of tiny bumps across the skin, each one worked by muscle. Relaxed, the skin is smooth. Contract them, and the skin goes rough and knobbly. So it doesn't only change color, it can change how it feels, its texture. To fake a lionfish's spines or to match the rough seafloor, this is the layer it leans on. So picture it. One complete costume is color plus sheen plus texture plus the pose the body strikes, all of it added together. And here's a spot where a lot of people get it wrong, so let me set it straight for the octopus. Its transformation is not a single instant, everything snapping into place all at once. The color change really is fast, a fraction of a second, but getting the texture, the sheen, and the whole body's posture into position is slower. So one full transformation actually takes several seconds. The coloring is quick, the whole ensemble comes together gradually. Honestly, this skin is so good that we researchers want to steal a few tricks from it. People are already using this changes color and changes shape skin as a blueprint to build materials that recolor themselves and soft robots that flex and move. One little octopus's single layer of skin has become one of the most sought-after design plans in the lab. Here's another neat thing. In animals like the octopus, roughly 2/3 of the nerve cells live inside the 8 arms, not gathered up in a central brain, which means each of its arms is a bit like it can make some of its own calls. 8 arms, each playing their own part, coming together to strike a completely different animal. That has a lot to do with how this body is built. All right, the Mimic Show has run this far, and now it's time to reveal the biggest secret of the whole night. The next one I bring on stage isn't another character, it's a riddle that to this day nobody has cracked. This performer, the finest color matcher on the whole seabed, itself can't actually see color. I'm not misspeaking. Scientists have studied the eyes of cephalopods and found that inside those eyes there's only one kind of light-sensing pigment. By everything we understand about how eyes tell colors apart, one pigment should mean colorblind. And yet this colorblind octopus can match the exact colors of its surroundings and of those venomous models, spot on. How is that even possible? Honestly, to this day, nobody is 100% sure. Right now, there are 2 main guesses. The first says that strange curved pupil of its, scientists describe it as shaped like the letter U, combined with the fact that different colors of light focus at different depths, might let it pull colors apart one by focusing. The second is even stranger. Maybe it isn't using only its eyes at all. Maybe its skin itself can sense light. In a relative of this octopus, scientists found that when the skin is hit by light, the color cells in it react on their own, and that the skin carries the very same light-sensing molecule the eyes do. Both ideas, to this day, remain unsettled. So the greatest secret of this Mimic Show is this. One of the finest color matchers on planet Earth is putting on a performance of which it cannot see a single color.
Okay, right here, I want you to set all those wows down for a second. Take a step back and ask a more important question. Why does it try so hard? Because it really is that fragile. No shell, no bones, soft all over, and it insists on making its living in broad daylight on an empty sand flat right in front of predators. And its life is short. In fact, scientists still haven't actually measured how long this octopus lives. They can only estimate from its close relatives, somewhere around 9 months to 2 years. And here, let me clear up one more myth for you. You may have heard it called the shortest-lived cephalopod. That's a mistake. The real record holder for a short life is somebody else, a little creature called the pygmy squid, whose whole life lasts about 2 or 3 months, far shorter than this one. But either way, the mimic octopus's life is just that brief a stretch. And in that short life, it mostly keeps to itself, guarding its own small patch of sand. It also has to know every dangerous neighbor around it, which fish, which one fears which predator. It has to remember all of it. And it gets exactly 1 shot at being a parent. Take the father first. A male octopus has 1 arm unlike the others, specially modified, whose only job is to pass a little packet of sperm into the mother's body. And once that task is done, not long after, the father reaches the end of his life. Now the mother. After she lays her eggs, she cradles the strings of them close and stands guard. Someone counted them once in an aquarium, nearly 200, with the whole clutch possibly over 300. Through all that brooding, she doesn't eat a single bite. She just holds on, guarding right up until the babies hatch. And then the mother too reaches the end. 1 breeding is a whole lifetime, for the father and for the mother, both the same. And the newly hatched little octopus, a tiny thing, it first drifts along in the open sea with the currents, drifting for a good while, slowly growing, before it finally sinks down, settles onto the seafloor, and begins its own nowhere-to-hide life.
Do you see it now? In the sea, the biggest teeth and the strongest venom don't always win. Sometimes the one that survives is the one that learned to become somebody else. The strongest attack loses to the finest deceiver. And it's a formidable hunter in its own right. It slips those slender arms down into holes in the sand and hauls hiding little shrimp and fish straight out. It can even slide its whole body into a tunnel under the sea floor and come back out of another hole a meter away. Hard-shelled crabs and shrimp are no trouble either. Right at the center of its 8 arms hides a hard beak, a bit like a parrot's, and with one crack, it splits the shell open. A trickster and a hunter both. That's how it stays alive. And speaking of which, here's one more piece of trivia for you. All octopuses are actually a little venomous. They use a venom in their saliva to numb their prey. It's just that for the vast majority of octopuses, including today's, that venom is no threat at all to a human. The one that's genuinely deadly is another octopus, a small one, ringed all over with little blue circles. So this mimic octopus is remarkable, not because it's the biggest, not because it's the strongest, and certainly not because it has the deadliest venom. It's because on a wide-open sand flat with nowhere to hide, it learned to wear the shape of the whole world, learned to become the one thing its enemy fears most. A palm-sized little octopus, one that can't see color, putting on the most astonishing mimic show on all of Earth, down there on the sea floor. And every last one of its costumes isn't for fun, it's to stay alive. I'm Dr. Gray Parrot. See you next time.
Next time, the lab cracks a case where even the swimming is a lie. The accused is an animal you can stare right at and still never spot. Its whole body sprouts little leafy ribbons, so it looks exactly like a clump of drifting seaweed. But not one of those leaves is for swimming. So how does it move? Want the answer? Hit like, subscribe, and share it with your best friend so you won't miss it next time. I'm Dr. Gray Parrot. Thanks for coming to the Animal Truth Lab. See you next time. Bye-bye.